There it is. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Mostly Football. I am your host, Dylan. With me, as always, is my co-host, Nate. Nate, how are you doing tonight?
A little tired, but we're good.
It seems like it's been a long week. You're a little less chatty, but, that happens.
Yeah, man, it's been a long week. I can just say that much.
Fair enough, fair enough. Hey, right off the bat here, this is not a sponsor. I don't normally get Pepsi, but just out of curiosity, are you a Coke or a Pepsi guy?
Neither. I don't really do sodas.
Oh, you're one of those health nuts, huh?
Not necessarily. I just don't. I don't really. I just don't prefer either one of those. I mean, I'll do a Sprite, but Pepsi or Coke, nah.
What are you, Mountain Dew?
Hell no. That's it's sugar in the can, sir. No, sir. I mean, like I said, for me, I mean, if I had to do it, it's more likely to be like a root beer type thing.
Okay. It says it right on the label, and it's not anything that is like a mystery to people. But I just remember there was a press conference fairly recently that Lane Kiffin was doing, and he was sitting down. There was like a bottle of soda in front of him. He was just reading it. He goes, 138% of your daily sugar. It's just like, man, when you put it like that, it's more than 100% of the sugar you need, and it's more than enough. It's more
Right.
than, and you're drinking it in a single bottle. Like, I used to work at Walmart, and I've seen plenty of people walk around at lunchtime with a 2 liter. Just that's their.
It'll be
That's
done with you for the end of the day. Yeah, no, that's
yeah.
no, yeah, no,
I think
that's
that's why you read about and you hear about the spike in cancers among young people.
yeah.
Uh,
That's definitely the reason why.
I remember watching the ABC segment, and there was some like effeminate Asian doctor on there, and that was the one thing. Like the host, great. The the host was like, "So if you were to point to one thing, that could lead to most of these cancers," and the guy was like, "Soda." Straight. I couldn't believe it. He was like, "Oh, it's a mix of." I figured he'd be like, "Mix of things, environment, yada yada yada." The one thing he just said right off the bat, soda. So you are, man. I tell you what. Since I was a kid, since I'm a child, I don't even drink water. I drink soda like water. My cousin and I used to crush 12 packs, 28 packs, 48 packs like it was nothing. Those cubes, nothing. Done so.
Can't do that now.
It does hurt now. Like as I drink it now, I visually picture my stomach lining just eroding away.
Yeah. Sounds about right. That's what definitely happened to you.
But anyway, I'm gonna, try to limit myself to one a day. That's pretty good to what I used to be. Not a 2 liter either, just a single bottle, 20 ouncer. And then I drink LaCroix. Did you down with LaCroix?
Fuck no. That shit tastes like TV static. No, I'm not drinking that shit. No.
Yeah, I'll be right back.
What the hell? It's the last thing I thought you were gonna say is isn't that sparkling water?
Yeah, it's that flavored sparkling water that's totally it says natural flavors on the side of the can. It's carbonated water and natural flavors, so you know it's good for you.
That shit tastes like fucking TV static. No, I'm not. No, hell no.
Well, shout out to the guys at Strikeout Beer. They had their show last night. Obviously, they do it every Wednesday, and they were drinking hard Mountain Dew. And
Mountain Dew.
I didn't even know it was a thing. Apparently, they sell Mountain Dew with liquor in it, and they had all different types of flavors. They even had.
Wait, Mountain Dew's already bad for you, but then now they're putting alcohol. They're trying to kill us.
They're trying to kill us.
Mountain Dew's already bad for you, and then they put alcohol in it. No,
I said that has to be the first choice of school shooters.
That has to be. It has to be the first choice because I didn't know that shit existed.
There is something about, like, I remember when I first started drinking, I didn't start drinking beer. I was one of those kids who was like, buying the Mike's Hard and everything, the the Reds apple cider, everything but beer. But now I'm a distinguished gentleman. But it is funny when you see kids nowadays do the same thing and you look back and you just call them pussies, even though you did the same exact thing.
Yeah, no.
Hey, let me put this ticker up because, wrong ticker. That's for the end of the show, guys. Don't disregard that first one. Let's get this thing kicked off with a positive story, Nate. We have, this is mostly football. sometimes we talk things outside of sports. I went to today.com. Just put in today.com to see what the first story was because, sometimes they have uplifting stories and I wanted to get things off on a positive note. This was the first thing I saw when I went to today.com. Popular mom blogger dies in car accident. We are absolutely heartbroken.
How the hell is this an uplifting story?
It's not. It's not. And that's the thing. Like, it blew
You
my
say
mind.
it was a positive note. What the fuck?
This is the front. This is the page that opens up when you go to today. Utah mom blogger dies after being burned by hot asphalt in 10+ car pileup in Mexico.
What the fuck? What? Why is that even a headline?
Dude, this is news now. Like, I understand that is news, but like, this
When
is the
did
first
bloggers
story on
become
today.com.
celebrities? When the fuck did bloggers become celebrities?
I mean, what's down at the bottom if that's the top story?
Oh my god, that's a terrible headline. That's
Hey, Pi Day's tomorrow, huh?
34 Pi Day deal. Nah.
Do you remember celebrating Pi Day back in school, or are they not?
Hell no, these made up ass days. These people, they just got random days. Like, this doesn't make no sense.
That's a suburban holiday, huh?
It's something. 3-year-old saves great grandmother after she. How the hell is a 3-year-old save? How?
Let's go to this one. A young boy saved his great grandmother after she fell and hit her head on a concrete stoop. She was bleeding. Bridger 3.
Obviously.
You got blood. Bridger's great grandmother, Sharon Lewis, tells today that the boy is a hero. Lewis, aka Gigi, we have Yaya, so Gigi's cute, was babysitting Bridger while his parents took his sister to the emergency room. Oh God, we got a lot of shit going on here for an injured
really injury prone.
After picking up Bridger, the pair walked toward her home when Lewis, who uses a walker, tripped and hit her head on a concrete step, splitting her forehead open. Oh, look at little Bridger.
Jesus.
Boy, Gigi's a real looker, huh?
Yeah, she's at the nah.
She tripped and she was bleeding, and then it popped open, says Bridger, referring to the skin on her head.
Yeah, that'll do it to you.
I never lost consciousness, and I knew I was bleeding. Tried to wipe the blood out of my eyes. Bridger was standing there and asked, "Are you okay?"
I'm trying to see where he saved her.
I asked Bridger to go to the car where I left my phone. He was brave. I knew he could do it.
Are you fucking kidding? You sent the 3-year-old outside for you? Are you kidding me? You sent the 3-year-old outside to the car. Outside? Are you kidding me?
I was too scared, Bridger tells today.com. He completed the task anyway with a triumphant, "I did it," caught on security camera.
You sent your 3. Why is your phone in the car?
Oh man!
You're never watching my kid again. You're never watching it. You never.
So the parents come back. The parents come back and they're like, "Yeah, so our grandmother had her head split open and my son was gone. We thought someone had like abducted him and just assaulted my grandmother."
So his parents come back and they see her laying on the floor bleeding, and the kid's nowhere to be found because he's outside. Man, you know what? You're not watching my kid anymore. No,
I like this happy ending here. After the neighbors were alerted, they took Bridger back to the house where he ate a bowl of cereal and watched episodes of Paw Patrol. Oh, there you go.
This is a trash story.
That Paw Patrol saved the day. Probably knew from Chase.
I don't. Why is your phone in the car? Why is your phone in the car? What happens? What happens if you go unconscious and you can't speak? Then what? What the fuck is he supposed to do then?
It's a really good point. And usually ladies are playing like Mahjong or some shit like that on their phone. Like, Candy Crush.
Bro, how do you do that? How do we get here? How do you leave you? And the crazy thing is she was like, go to the car. Like, what happens if the car's locked? Then what?
How about this? My kid would have not given the phone. Once he had the phone, he'd been like, mine. And that would have just been like bleeding out.
That story is wild. Like, and then the parents come home, see her laying on the floor bleeding out the fucking forehead, and he's nowhere to be found. And
He's
you're calm
fucking.
about this? Nah, man, I'm not trying to. I'm trying to figure out how this makes the news.
It's on major national news right there. Today.com.
Yeah, you know what? Anything's news nowadays. Everything becomes news nowadays. It's all trash.
Well, Nate, there's the news that you didn't expect, and then there's the news that you did expect. And here's the news that you did expect. So,
Keep
for
going.
those of you who are new to the political game, every couple of years,
Chuck
there's
Schumer needs to. You know what? He needs to fall and split his fucking forehead. Him and the rest of them goddamn decrepit ass politicians that run with him. They all need to go. It's time for them to go. Like, it is time.
It's very much time. Luckily, Mitch McConnell won't run for re-election, but he's staying until 2028.
That motherfucker, he had a stroke on TV and everybody was like, oh, he just froze. No, he had a stroke. I'm not trying to hear that shit. That man had a stroke in front of the national TV and y'all were just staring at him like it was nothing. Like, no one freezes for that long. I don't give a fuck who you are. He had a stroke. And they just like, he's okay. No.
You have to wake up now.
Yeah, he had a fucking stroke. Like, no one just freezes. Like, something was wrong. Something in his body shut down and stopped working.
I believe the gentleman from Kentucky is frozen. Somebody reboot him, please.
This old fuck, I'm so ready for him and Nancy. And I don't care how many times Nancy get her skin pulled back. You're not going to look young, ma'am. Your hands, your fingers, everything, it's time for y'all to go. I hate this picture that they used of Chuck Schumer. Chuck Schumer is not this young. Okay? Chuck Schumer is not this young.
Oh, well, again, if you're new to the political game, every couple of years, there's a looming government shutdown. And the party that's in charge tries to keep everything open, and the party that's not in charge threatens to shut it down. And there's this whole song and dance that happens, and nothing ever comes of it, except sometimes the debt ceiling gets raised, of course, because they want to put more money on the credit card, more of our dollars. Just
the
use
problem
more
is the reason why they can't. The reason why he's voting to keep the bitch open is because they all their bullshit's been caught and they've been caught with their pants down. So yeah, he's gonna vote to keep it open because he can't do that bullshit spending anymore. So that's why he's voting. That's why he's voting. Don't act like he's not. He don't need to act like he's. No, motherfucker. You don't. You're voting to keep the government open because you can't do all that bullshit spending anymore because all your shit's got exposed.
All that USAID money.
Yeah, that's what this is about. This ain't got nothing to do with anything. He doesn't support the president. His ass and the rest of his buddies got caught with their pants down, and and they can't raise the national debt anymore. Like, no, don't act like you're supporting this shit. Go fuck yourself.
The whole USAID thing is interesting because
that shit was tragic, dude.
I mean, you can see online there are still people hanging on to that whole like red versus blue thing from the first Trump era where it was like, oh, we have to be totally on this side or totally on that side. So I either love USAID, which I probably never heard of until now, or I hate USAID, which I probably never heard of until now.
Dude, the shit that they were paying for, the shit we were paying for, it was outrageous.
Well, for anyone curious, definitely check out the Joe Rogan episode with, I believe his name was Mike Benz, because boy, he opens up the whole books on what goes where and talking about, rap groups in like Cuba or, South America getting funded by the CIA and things like that.
Yeah, man, I'm just like, what the fuck? Like, why are we paying for this shit? We don't need to pay for this shit. I think they said that somebody was getting paid $50,000 to water some plants. I'm like, why? Why the fuck are we paying somebody $50,000 a year to fucking water plants? And it's just 2 plants in a fucking building. Just 2 measly ass plants in a building. I'm like, why the fuck are we paying for? Why are we paying for this? They were sponsoring fucking the shit that they were paying for experiment on animals is wild.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck? Like, why are we paying? Who fuck? We don't care.
Yeah, people, I mean, that's stuff that kind of gets kept behind the curtain a little bit. I mean, every now and again, they'll do a story on like, animal cruelty. You know, it'll pop up. You know, certain
Transgender rats. What the fuck do we need to know if rats are transgender for? Why do we need to know that? Why? Why do we need to know if rats can be gay? Why do we need to know that? Why is that a thing? I don't understand. I don't understand why we were sponsoring some shit like that. Why are we sponsoring a gay Sesame Street? Why are we sponsoring comic books? And why the fuck are we sending $50 million worth of condoms to another country? Why? Are they fucking that much? Like, no, absolutely not. No, fuck that. Get the fuck out of here.
I mean, depends on what country they're going to.
No, I'm not trying to hear this shit. All that fucking money. I'm not trying to hear this shit.
And then, well, you're right, because there's a lot of that. And then on the other side of that, you can't just take a flamethrower to the bridge, because now you got, you know, veterans and people who actually probably are doing a good job, deserve their jobs, getting cut just as part of some, like, you know, probably AI generated program of like, here's the numbers, here's the algorithm, here's the target, cut everything below this. And
yeah, I mean, if
there was things, it's in the middle is what I'm saying. There's nuance to it.
Yeah, I mean, if there were things we were paying for that was that's beneficial, I'm okay with it. Ain't got no problem. It's just wasteful shit. It's the shit that didn't make any sense. Like there were some weird fucking programs that we were paying money for. I'm like, why the fuck? I think there was something like, I don't know if it was a real thing, but there was like they were paying millions of dollars for like people fluffing pillows. I'm like, why the fuck? Oh wait, no, it was the balloon. It was teaching clowns how to fold balloons into animals. It's like, why the fuck are we teaching people that? Why is that even a thing? Like, what the, you learn how to do this shit on your own and you get the fuck out. Why are we paying to teach people how to? No, fuck that. I'm not trying to hear that shit.
I think underneath a lot of that stuff, aside from just like the CIA using certain programs for recruitment and, you know, to put their fingers on the scales and this and that, I think some of that's just like money laundering. You know, people who are good at using this.
Sure. It was 100% money laundering. Yeah. That's a lot. That's the real reason why they're upset. They're not mad because they know he's not stealing their money. He's not stealing our money. He's stealing their money. He didn't stuck their hand. He's stopping all their bullshit, all that money laundering, and all that excessive. No, that's what their problem is, and they're scared. And that's what it is. Like, I watched one video where it was a bunch of grown ass elderly people standing outside in front of a building singing Negro spirituals. I'm like, what the fuck are y'all doing? Like, what? Why are we singing Negro spirituals? Okay, I don't get it. Like,
well, it was Schumer and Pelosi that like got in the dashikis, right? And they wanted to.
Well, that was around the George Floyd thing, but this is more. But it was Schumer was a part of this one too. They were singing Negro spirituals in front of this fucking USAID building. I'm like, are y'all serious right now? Like, y'all just like it. What bothers me is that like your party just got your asses handed to y'all in the most recent presidential election, and y'all are still riding on the same shit that cost you the election, and y'all have done nothing to change it. And now you got a bunch of ignorant ass young politicians that are running the same shit. Trump bad. Okay, cool. We heard that. We've been hearing that shit for the last 8 years. Like, it's dead. Let it go. That's why y'all lost as bad as you did. It's time to move on.
Let's see if I can pull this up here, because this was a moment here that I didn't think was cringe at all, and totally shows us, you know.
Please don't show me that video. I think you get ready to show. Please do not. That fucking video. Okay, I thought you were gonna show the pick your fighter video.
Oh no. This was when they wanted to protest.
This is another video they were singing Negro spiritual.
Al Green be censured with public reading of this resolution by the speaker.
Knock his gavel down. Get out of here. Trying to pick out. I don't see Hakeem Jeffries there. And I don't see some of the major people who are supposed to be.
Maxine Waters.
Ah, Maxine.
Maxine, she was in the front. She's in the front of it. She's like, she is to the left. I guess however you're looking at her. She's
like right
next to the white lady with the blonde hair.
Yeah.
And Ilhan Omar is on the other side of Al Green. And then the other one, Rashid, whatever her fucking name is, she need her head taken off her shoulders. She's standing right there. I see all of the big hitters, and they're all a bunch of idiots. Every last one of them.
No, Maxine Waters, for people who don't know, is the one who, when Democrats were totally being the grown-ups in the room and they were not trying to be divisive, Maxine Waters is the one who said, if you see a Trump supporter, you go up to them and you punch them, or something along those. Tell them they're not welcome.
She's like 1,000 years old. It's time for them to fucking go. At this point, I'm like, when is your heart gonna stop? Like, at what part did your heart just say, you're too old, we're gonna stop?
Now, again, at the same time, I'm not trying to be, Mr. Republican either. Did you see Zelensky in the Oval Office with Trump and JD Vance?
He got his ass whipped.
No, I mean the whole thing was that, but JD Vance, when he was like, "Have you said thank you once?"
Yeah, fucking think, because we saved your goddamn country, because without us, Russia would have your goddamn country right now. So you should thank us. You should be right. You should be on your hands and knees thanking us for saving your piece of shit country. But no, you want to come in here and have your chest poked out. Okay, that's fine. We just stop funding your shit, and we'll let Russia take your shit and then see what happens.
I mean, it was all a big show. Like, we're mostly the reason that United States is mostly the reason that stuff happened anyway. It was all a big show, but for JD Vance,
that shit didn't have anything. None of what took place had anything to do with us. That was Putin realizing there's not a strong human being in the office, and we are just gonna do what the fuck we want to do. And that's what the fuck happened. He saw opportunity. We had fucking Sleepy Joe in the office, so he was like, "Fuck it, I'm gonna take a chance. We're gonna do it. See how far it gets." And we just started funneling money into this man's country, and not a fuck.
If you can find it, because it is a difficult find, there's a documentary called Ukraine on Fire by Mr. Oliver Stone, who did the film JFK. And I'm not saying Oliver Stone is, a perfect being by any means. I think there's something, to who produces his films, particularly Arnon Milchan producing JFK. You notice that Israel wasn't mentioned at all in the assassination of JFK. So I think there's something to that. Arnon Milchan's a famous Israeli billionaire, former Israeli spy who helped produce that film. But in Ukraine on Fire, I mean, you get to see evidence of people from the United States Department, particularly Victoria Nuland. She's on tape talking about how they're fucking with politics in Ukraine and they got their guy that they want in there and they're messing with protests over there. The CIA, USAID stuff that we were talking about. And, attempting to put Ukraine in NATO and set up bases all along the Russian. Like, we definitely poked the bear when it comes to Russia and Ukraine, for sure. Now, was it all the U.S.? Of course not. Was the invasion, did he have to invade Ukraine, Putin? Probably not. But to say that the United States had no part in it, I just think watching that film would help a little, maybe bring some things you didn't think of before, or at least know before.
Well, he took a chance and he saw it.
And I mean, Zelensky himself, he's a fucking comedian. He was a comedian. He played a president on a TV show in Ukraine, and because of that, yes, he played a president on a Ukrainian TV show, and that was basically his tryout to run for president.
What the?
You can find a video of
him. You have an actor playing. What the fuck? No wonder he thought he can come in here and talk shit. I mean, you don't go sit your ass down somewhere.
There's a great video. It's really funny. If you can find the video of him pretending to play the piano with his nutsack, it's pretty good.
That is terrible. That's a terrible way to go. That is a really terrible way to go.
Well, dude, how about that? I mean, us talking non-sports news. We did that for a good 20 minutes. That's pretty cool. Look at us. We're cultured.
I'm pretty sure there's some people that would hate us.
Well, yeah, probably a lot of people are tuning out. But the ones who are tuning in now are getting to see this, my friend. It's March Madness. Have you been keeping up with the basketball scores?
I am depressed right now because Georgia is killing me.
Uh-oh.
Georgia had an opportunity to really solidify themselves in the SEC tournament, and we fucking lost to Oklahoma last night.
Oh, shit. Oklahoma's playing Kentucky. Ah, damn it.
We beat Kentucky. We beat Florida. How the fuck did we lose to Oklahoma? I think we were on a 3-game win streak. Texas beat A&M.
Whew. Overtime.
They needed that because now I just gotta hope we can get into the fucking tournament.
Man.
That's just what I just need us to get into the top 64 because I don't them losing to Georgia, them losing to Oklahoma didn't help.
Who's the big stars on the team?
Fuck, I don't know. They annoy me so much. They just, it's been a long season. It's been a lot of ups and downs, but it's just
Oh
dog.
man, I wish I could remember.
Wednesday night. Yes, yeah, Wednesday night.
God, who was the fucking guy from Gonzaga years ago with the mustache? He was an all-timer. He was a college legend. But yeah, I like the small school stuff. I like teams like the Shockers and shit like that around this time of year. It's always fun.
You know that
Oh,
shit. That's gonna
Wichita
have,
State?
as soon as March Madness starts, as soon as the tourney starts, you already know they're gonna have those Cinderella stories that everybody's gonna be going. This team's gonna come out of nowhere and they're gonna knock off the top schools. It happens.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. So we got the NCAA basketball. Oh yeah, there was a young man with a pretty bad injury from Duke. I saw him in a wheelchair.
Cooper Flag. They said it's a really swollen ankle, so I don't think it's too serious. But this is the bad time for him to get that injury. That's a bad time for this injury.
What a flag!
He rolled it. Nah, that's not a good time, especially with Duke being as good, playing as well as they are.
You hate a roll. Let's see here. Who got fired? Minnesota fired. Wow. Ben Johnson. What a coincidence.
Hey man, listen. I think at this point, these schools are looking to win now. We're paying these kids. It's time to win. But
that's a good point. I mean, NIL is across the board. It's not just football.
But you gotta. I think as a school, as an organization, like you have to understand there's your school, and then there's these schools.
Yeah.
Like you gotta look. If you're a team like if you like one of these like Minnesota, you're not going to compete with teams like Duke and Kansas and Kentucky and these top tier schools. Like you got to know where you're at. Now, you want to get into the tournament and shock some teams? Cool. That's probably the best you're going to do. That's just it. Like you're not going to be like the Gonzagas who shocked the world. Like you're not going to be those teams.
Right.
So you got to learn your place.
But you get on TV.
Huh?
But you get on TV.
Yeah, get on TV, get a little extra money, but you got to look at it like we're not going to be able to compete with some of these schools. The NIL is going to only get you so far. It can only get you so far.
Right. Very true. Very true. Well, my friend, Wednesday was the official day at 4:00. The NFL free agents could be signed. I believe. What was it? Monday was like the legal tampering.
No, Sundays when shit started. Monday, a little more shit started, and then it just started to roll downhill the rest of the week.
I just love the term legal tampering.
I'm gonna tell you the shocker for me. The biggest shocker was DK Metcalf.
We'll get there. We'll get there, my friend. I decided to just pull up the page of all the signings and trades that have happened so far. We'll go through each team. We'll pick out the ones that are obviously, the important ones, the ones that are going to have the biggest impacts. And let's get things kicked off right here. The Seattle Seahawks and a player that was talked about all season long, particularly in the playoffs, because we wanted to know, is Minnesota going to keep this guy around? 14 wins. I mean, what a season. Turns out, as they say, he went full pumpkin, and from Cinderella right back to form. And Minnesota said, "We don't need you. See you later."
They made a big mistake. Minnesota has made they made a very big mistake because I didn't see what everybody saw in JJ McCarthy. I didn't see it. I still don't see it. Like
I don't.
everyone,
Yeah, I think
like his last year in college, he didn't throw the fucking ball. Like he didn't throw the ball at all. His defense carried him. The run game carried him. I think him getting hurt last year was probably the best thing for him because no one had to watch the shit that he's going to be putting out. I don't think he has a good product.
not just that, but the last time we saw him, I mean, it was a pretty impressive like bomb in the preseason, a touchdown pass that you went, okay, maybe there's something here, and then he got hit.
Desmond Ritter did the same thing. Desmond Ritter had great bombs in the preseason. He had great passes. And what happens when the season started? He fucking blacked out and forgot how to play fucking quarterback.
Yeah.
So I think if you're a team, you're obviously obviously as a coach and coaching staff, your preseason is how you gauge your guys. I think JJ McCarthy is going to be Daniel Jones.
Gotcha.
I don't believe it. I don't believe it. I think them letting Sam Darnold walk was a mistake. Now, I would admit I'm wrong if he comes out and he slings the ball. I don't believe I'm going to be wrong. I believe Justin Jefferson is going to be frustrated next season, along with the rest of those guys. They re-signed fucking Aaron Jones, so I don't see that run game helping him. And he's a young guy. You need a run game.
Well, when it comes to Seattle, they have made some big waves this offseason by offloading, like you said, the aforementioned DK Metcalf. They cut Tyler Lockett, and then they went ahead and traded Geno Smith to the Raiders. At Geno Smith's age, to get a third-round pick for him was pretty sweet.
That's a lot. Hey, listen to me. I think the Raiders got you for sure. You gave a third. Nah, gang. I'm not. No. And the Raiders should have known. A third round for Geno? That's high. You talk about like that's high for Geno.
Oh yeah.
I'm thinking maybe a fourth or fifth. Nah, maybe a compository pick, but nah, not a third rounder. No, hell no. But good thing is they got their guy.
Yes. Yep. And Seattle gets a guy who I think is like, he's 27. Sam Darnold's still only 27 years old. As hard as that is to believe. So he's still pretty young. Even though they lost a couple weapons, you still got JSN, who really came on strong at the end of the last year. Not going to say that I love this pickup at all. He's kind of just MVS, Marquez Valdez.
They went off those couple games he had for the Saints where he went ballistic. But right. I don't like that at all. I feel like they're better receivers. Like Keenan Allen is still there. Stephon Diggs is still there.
Yeah.
Like those guys are still available. I just don't. Jesus Christ.
TJ Burns in the house, firing it up right away. I like my sweet tea the same way I like my America full of ice. So TJ.
But yeah, I do. I mean, you trading DK, you cut Tyler Lockett. So you're just gonna put everything on JSN back?
It's gonna be JSN, and boy, if you got Ken Walker and your fantasy team, get ready because they're gonna run the fucking tread right off those tires.
They're gonna have to. Because I mean, who is he gonna throw to?
Well, so this is a good conversation, right? Because it's not really a dynamic wide receiver class as far as the draft goes. You're looking at free agents still available. Guys like Stephon Diggs, like you said, Keenan Allen are still out there. So there's some vets you could piece together.
Yeah,
Cooper Kupp.
Yeah, I mean, bring it, and then Amari Cooper. I think I don't know. For me, if you're gonna change quarterbacks, you gotta at least make sure you have people he can throw the ball to. Because I mean, JSN is still a young guy, and I don't know. I wouldn't rely on him heavily in my pass game. Not yet.
Right.
Like if I think if anything, you have to bring in a veteran guy, and MVS is not that veteran guy. Amari Cooper is probably not going to cost you too much. Keenan Allen, I don't think those guys are going to cost you a fortune. Hell, you could even go get Juju Smith-Schuster. I think he's available. But MVS is not that guy. I wouldn't have brought him in. No.
And the interesting thing about having JSN as your number one is you don't often see a team with their number one who lines up primarily in the slot. You know what I mean?
He's not he didn't have to play outside, so now he's gonna have to play outside. Now we're gonna have to see how he does against those number one and number two corners. Now we're going to see what his talent really is, because you can't hide no more. DK ain't there, Tyler, they're not there anymore. So now it's all on you. I don't know. I just, and with Sam Darnold being, as he had a great season last year, once the playoffs started, we don't know what the fuck happened. But bringing him into a situation like this, I mean, this is how he started his career.
Yeah,
he ain't nobody fucking throw the ball to.
Well, you know, we're starting off in the NFC West here, and it's pretty fitting because for those of you who remember, the NFC West last year was a total fucking mess. The Rams backed into the playoffs. I think they were pretty close to a 500 record. So this isn't this isn't like anyone's far and away the number one. I obviously the Rams are going to be the favorites next season, but I think that Seattle's probably closer than most people would think.
I don't think it's close.
You don't think so?
I don't think it's close, because I mean, I'm just thinking of what the division looks like. The Cardinals are shit.
Yes.
The Niners just depleted their entire fucking roster, so they're not even close. And then their top guy, their top receiver, Brandon Ayuk, is coming off a fucking ACL or Achilles tear. I think it was ACL.
ACL, yeah.
Yeah, so they're cooked. They're not. And then the Seahawks. I mean, I think the gap between the Rams and the Seahawks it's not even close. I think the Rams should be the odds-on favorite. They should be miles ahead of these guys.
They're certainly one of those on paper teams for sure. TJ says Jets Super Bowl champs 2076. You know what's funny about the Jets is I was listening to a show last night, and this guy, you know, he's older than me. He was hosting the show. He's got to be in mid-40s maybe. And they brought up the Jets, and it was so funny the way he said it, because he legitimately said, "Man, the Jets have sucked my entire life." Like there is no. It's just
That is a bad. You listen. That's the worst part about a lot of these franchises, especially these older franchises.
The Browns.
Like, the Browns. If you've been a lifelong Browns fan, the Browns have sucked through generations of families. Not just they sucked through generations of families. Like, we talk about 30, 40 years of generations, just bad year after bad year after bad year after bad year after bad year. That's terrible. Like, you haven't seen any form of success with this team since you were a baby. Probably since your parents are kids. That is awful. And then the Jets have said, well, see, the Jets had a little success. They got the one Super Bowl.
Right.
But that was a way long time ago.
And you know, Sanchez took him to the AFC Championship, you know, with Rex Ryan. So they did
I guess you can see that that's a little bit mild success. You made it to the AFC Championship, but obviously Brady was there. So yeah, man. I mean, me being a Falcons fan, this team has sucked since I've been a fan. They've just been. We've made it to the NFC Championship a couple times. We made it to the Super Bowl, but it's a nightmare. I just couldn't imagine being like a Browns fan or a Jets fan or even. I mean, I guess the Jaguars are. I guess they're a newer franchise, but to be a Jaguars fan, I mean, you've never seen success. I think they had the 1 year that they made it to the AFC Championship.
Blake Bortles.
Yeah, but outside of that, you hadn't seen any success with this team in forever. So, I mean, what can you do?
some franchises. It really gives you an idea of how important the front office is, because some franchises, Packers, Eagles, Ravens, Steelers, just seem to stay competitive every single season. Then, like we mentioned, those trash franchises that just can't get it together.
It's just like I don't. Like,
They spend the money, they trade up, they do everything they can, they get the high draft picks, and still they make the wrong decision.
I think. I mean, a lot of times, I think a coach can make or break a team, but if you're constantly in the top 10 every year, how have you not changed this franchise around? How have you not changed this fucking franchise around? Like, what are we doing?
TJ says the Cowboys are that way now. The Cowboys have sucked for over 20 years. That is true. And boy, when they showed that meme this past season of how Jalen Hurts and Jaden Daniels both have like been born, grown up, become adults, been pros, and made the playoffs before the Cowboys did.
Like same thing, like with Saquon. Like these guys, they were born, okay. They had a childhood. They went to high school. They went to elementary, middle school, and high school. They went to college. They spent time in college, became pros, and they've made it to the NFC Championship. Hell, Jalen Hurts just made it to the Super Bowl twice, and then won one before the Cowboys. Dude, that is terrible. Your last Super Bowl, I think. Well, when was it? What 96, 95, 96? I think that was their last. Right. I was 6, I think, around that time. I was like 5 or 6 around that time. Like, wait a minute. Like, give me a tell. I've had an entire childhood. Like, I'm an adult now. Nothing? No, nothing. Jesus Christ, this is terrible. It's terrible.
So this was kind of an odd one. Not that I think Mac Jones is like an odd player to sign, but for a team that's losing weapons and wants to pay a lot of money to its quarterback, to bring in another quarterback was interesting.
John Lynch does not look like the smartest man in the room anymore.
And also, I mean, for those of you who remember, when the Niners drafted Trey Lance, I mean, Mac Jones was in that draft class, and there was talk, who was going to go first, yada, yada, yada. So it seems like the Niners are headed back to that draft class, but for a different quarterback. They pick up Mac Jones behind, Brock Purdy, who's about to get a big paycheck.
I wouldn't.
And then you got a couple of bargain bins here with guys like Demarcus Robinson, who's, not bad. He's not going to.
Yep. Wait a minute. So you're telling me, time the fuck up. Hold up. So you lost high caliber players and you brought in bullshit? Debo is gone. I think Debo was on his last leg anyway. I don't think Debo is at that level anymore. So Debo is gone. You lost a shit ton of players from your defense, which was dumb on your part. Oh, yeah. And then you think to bring in Demarcus Robinson, Mac Jones, Luke Farrell, Trey Brown, Richie Grant. What the fuck were y'all thinking?
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Brought that long snapper in just in case.
What the fuck? Yeah. Okay, so this for sure here. There's no way they do anything well this year.
I don't think so.
There's no way. There's no possible way that they have a great season because Christian McCaffrey is he bought a injury away from retiring.
That when he went down on his own with that did not look good.
Christian McCaffrey is about one injury. He about one tackle away from being done.
He took that ball and said, "Nope, not today."
Yeah. No, bro. I'm the Niners. If you're a Niners fan, you gotta be sad.
TJ says, "Okay, serious question. Josh Allen has his window closed completely for him to be elite QB, or does he have some time left before he becomes the Dan Marino of his generation?" He's definitely. I think he's already considered elite talent-wise, and he's won an MVP. I think maybe 2 now, at least 1.
I think he's more referring to the whole Super Bowl thing.
Yeah, he's going to be thought of as he's going to be in that Marino, Jim Kelly mold.
I don't think so.
No?
I don't think so. I think what we saw in the Super Bowl this year may have been a turning point because if you watched it, the refs just let the abuse happen. They let the abuse happen. They stood there and they watched. They were accessories to a murder. They watched it. They watched it happen, and there was nothing they could do because it was on national fucking TV. Because the thing about it, they started the game with the bullshit pass interference, offensive pass interference against who was it? AJ Brown.
Yep.
And then they came back with a bullshit helmet to helmet call that went against the Chiefs. So I think once they realized like how people they was like, no, we gotta let this shit happen. Because think about it. Look how they were abusing Patrick Mahomes. That shit would in the regular season, that shit wouldn't have happened.
Yeah, I think they called the big game a little different.
I don't think the Chiefs are not as good as people portray them. They're not 15-2 good. They're not. They're not 15-2 good. They got lucky with a bunch of bullshit missed calls or a bunch of bullshit calls that shouldn't have been called. I think now I do believe the Bills are better than the Chiefs. I think Josh Allen. I think Patrick Mahomes is starting to regress. Maybe it's because his weapons are not there. But I think Josh Allen is definitely. I think the conversation should be now Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson. Patrick Mahomes got the championships, but after what I watched last season, they don't look like the Chiefs. Travis Kelce is old.
Yep.
Xavier Worthy is going to be John Ross. I just don't see him. I don't see him lasting too long in this league.
Xavier Worthy's got to stay out of jail.
Nah, that wasn't his fault.
Count on Nate. Take the woman's side as always. All right.
I didn't take the woman's no. She ain't shit for what she did. Like, she ain't shit, but we'll leave that for another day.
Let's do that another day. The Rams, opposite side of the NFC West here, looking pretty good. They bring back Jimmy G. They bring back Matthew Stafford after talk of him possibly going somewhere else. Signed Devontae Adams, which is a big surprise for me. Bring back Tutu and then a couple of linemen, Puna Ford, a big lineman on defense to hopefully shore up that run defense that let Saquon Barkley, run through you. So the effort there.
Here's the issue I have. Why let Cooper Kupp walk just to sign Devontae Adams?
I love
that
both.
That doesn't make sense to me.
I love both players. I get where you're coming from.
Kupp is younger. He's younger. And I feel like he's a better route runner.
It's Devontae's numbers last year were still good. I think he had like 7 touchdowns in 9 games, about 800 yards.
I think, but Cooper Kupp had the ankle injury. I think that sidelined him for like 4 weeks or something like that. But I'd have took Cooper Kupp before I went for Devontae. Devontae, I'm not saying that he doesn't have it anymore. It just doesn't make sense. You let your aging receiver walk for another aging receiver, but the aging receiver you let walk is younger than the guy you just brought in.
So you think if Cooper is healthy next season, it's like a wash as far as talent-wise and what they can bring to the team?
Yeah, I mean, if Cooper Kupp can stay healthy, he's gonna be a number one for any team that signs him. As long as he can stay healthy, I think maybe that may have played the part in them letting him walk because of injuries. But at the same time, I think I would have just kept Cooper Kupp rather than going for Devontae Adams. But
as far as fantasy football goes, because I know there's a lot of people wondering, Puka Nacua, how does this affect him? I think it's going to be bad for both players. I think that Devontae is good enough to take targets away from Puka, but I also think that Puka is still such a focal point of this offense that it's not going to be like Rodgers force-feeding Devontae. So you're going to get less from both players.
Yeah, it won't be that force. I don't think it's going to be force-feed. I don't think Matthew Stafford trusts Puka Nacua more than he trusts Devontae Adams, and that's just because they have the chemistry. I don't see him force feeding Devontae Adams for 4 quarters. I just don't see it. Now they're going to draw plays for him. I just don't see him being a focal point of that offense. but he's going to be the focal point of a defense. I can tell you that much.
Oh yeah. That they're gonna focus more on defense. You mean?
Yeah, they're not good. You know, once it's Devontae Adams, you're not going to just be like, oh, we're just going to let him stay 1-on-1. No, you're not going to do that. There's going to be focus on Devontae Adams from a defensive standpoint. Like,
right.
We're not going to just let him run free up the fucking field. That's just not going to happen.
Yeah, so in that way, maybe you won't be able to double either guy. And
No, you're not going to. I mean, you don't. Puka Nacua is not a guy that's going to take the top off your defense. Now, can he get past the DB? Yes, but he's not a Tutu Atwell. He's not going to be that guy where you have to be worried about him running by you. Can it happen? Yes. Has it happened? Yes. But I don't see that being an issue. But Devontae Adams, for sure, they're going to keep it because he can catch it and go.
And for those of you who, like me in dynasty leagues, have Jordan Whittington, we can cry together and find a chat in the Discord to be together and wonder what could have been if only they just moved him up instead of bringing in Devontae. TJ says, big news this week. Trump signs executive order. Men can no longer clean dishes because men are not allowed to compete in women's sports. I'll say this. Sometimes, not all the time, sometimes I am the superior dishwasher in my household. Why is that, you say? Because I actually have a method to putting the dishes in the dish rack, in the strainer, you know, where you let them dry. Somebody in my house just piles the shit up like it's just a random house. Me, I put the big plates, the little plates, the glass.
You organize shit.
Thank you. Yeah. So then when you go to find a bottle for your son in the morning, you can actually find it. Let's see. Moving on here. So yes, the Rams that we both agree are going to be they're the favorites for the West next season.
Yeah, I definitely think they're going to be miles ahead of everybody else in this division, especially this dumbass team.
Really, no one of note for the Cardinals. They did bring in, Super Bowl champion Josh Sweat. He reunited with Gannon.
Why? So you can be bad on defense? Your defense was trash. Your defense was getting smoked last year.
When you get sacks in the Super Bowl, you get paid.
Man, their defense was getting their asses whipped last year. I guess. I guess.
Collier's got talent. Tomlinson, there's definitely talent here between these three guys, and Baron Browning I do like. So let's see what happens. I don't think they're going to change overnight, but
at least they brought in some guys to protect Kyler. Because
yes, yeah, right. And boy, I mean, Marvin Harrison had a good season by rookie standards. It's just compared to Neighbors and Brian Thomas, he looked like a chump.
Right, exactly. And they were on worse teams. That's the problem. How are you getting outplayed by guys on worse teams? Malik Neighbors was with the fucking Giants and Brian Thomas with the Jaguars. And his quarterback missed a couple games from a hit. So I don't get it.
Moving into the NFC South, Nate's favorite division here.
I forgot he was even still in the league.
The Buccaneers bring back Kyle Trask, former Florida star quarterback.
Be that guy.
They did bring back Chris Godwin.
Yeah, I saw that.
They
got Hassan Reddick.
Yes, they brought in Reddick after a rocky 2024 with and without the Jets. They bring back Levante David, so it looks like he's going to retire a Buccaneer. And he's still playing very well. And, I like Anthony Walker Jr., but I didn't feel like digging too deep into that one. So, yeah, mostly just bringing people back. And then, they lost that Joe Tryon, that young pass rusher from Washington. So they bring in Reddick, and we'll see what happens.
I think Hassan Reddick is going to be a pretty good pickup for them.
I think so, too. I think it's going to be just like when they picked up Shaq Barrett, and he just went right in there and dominated. TJ says, so what you're saying, Dylan, is you use sports enhancing drugs. I don't know about sports enhancing, but I use drugs. Moving on. Saints. New Orleans Saints. Hey, you gotta do something. And if you do something, you might as well re-sign Dante Pettis. They re-signed Juwan Johnson. traded for Devon Godchow for the Patriots. So he comes, former LSU guy, and Godchow comes home. Cam Jordan returning for his 15th NFL season.
He needs to retire. Yeah, I think this might be his last season. Depending on how well he plays, I think this might be his last season because they signed Chase Young for whatever reason for a 3-year, $51 million deal, a max value of 50. Yeah, I think they want to see what they can get out of him.
So the chat on Chase Young, a lot of people say he's a bum and he gives no effort, and then I guess if you dive into the numbers, he's like actually pretty high up in pressures, just not sacks. So take it for what you will. And then they bring in a guy who I wanted the Eagles to sign in Justin Reed. So yet another year without Justin Reed in Philly.
Yeah, I mean, it's the same. So it's and then they restructured Derek Carr's contract. So they're saying that he's their guy. So
Kellen Moore, good luck. TJ says, what did the blind kid say to his mom?
Yeah.
As he left for school. See you later, Mom. I feel like that was typed wrong and I read it wrong. Something happened there.
I agree. He definitely did all that.
Then we can move up into the Carolina Panthers.
Damn.
Brought in some names.
Okay.
Re-signed Andy Dalton. Brought in Rico Dowdle from the Cowboys. Tommy Tremble's back. They made J.C. Horn the highest paid DB in the league, right? I think.
I saw that. Yeah, they definitely. They went and did that one. They was like, we got to keep this guy.
And then they brought in former first-round pick, I do believe, safety Trayvon Moehrig.
So it looks like they went for their defense because that defense was one of the issues that they had last year. The offense was an issue, but the defense was the bigger issue because they gave up a fuck ton of points last year.
Which is wild because it wasn't that long ago that they drafted an entire. The whole draft was defense, so it's just funny that they're back there now.
Yeah, most of those guys are gone now. But yeah, it looks like they went to bolster their defense, which is a good thing. It looks like they brought in another a guard, and a center, so we'll see how that plays out for them.
Yeah, both those guys looks like they're on the team, so they're just bringing them back.
And they said that Bryce Young is their guy, so.
Bryce Young's the guy. Moving into
talk about this bullshit.
The Atlanta Falcons. Look at these moves they made. Look at these moves. Look at these hot moves the Atlanta Falcons made. Kadarius Hodge. Whew.
Fucking Leonard. We always fucking do this. Every year we do this shit. We always go after some aging ass edge rusher. Every goddamn year.
I thought you'd be excited for your Georgia homie.
No. Now, granted, he had 8.5 sacks last year, which is more than most of the guys we had on our goddamn team last year. But he's 32. You telling me you couldn't go find somebody younger? There was not there. You couldn't try to go get Chase Young. You couldn't try to get somebody who. The shit that pissed me off. The guy we signed that used to play for the Raiders. I'm like, who the fuck is this guy?
You don't know Divine Diablo?
No. Never heard of him. I pulled his stats. I'm like, this is trash.
He's a Hokie.
And then we signed Mike Hughes, who was already with us. And then we went and signed, I think his name is Mike Ford. He played for the Browns. And what it looks like to me is because of the defensive coordinator, because he's bringing back guys that played for him. And I don't like that shit. I don't like this shit at all. I don't like Insanity is doing the exact same shit over and over, expecting a different result. We're not doing anything different. I don't like these free agency moves. We did nothing. We let Grady Jarrett go.
That's something they did do different, which I didn't think we would like at all.
Again, a part of it was there was not a whole lot there with Grady Jarrett. It was not a whole lot. It wasn't like he was an Aaron Donald of our defensive line. No, we were barely getting pressure. Like we didn't start getting sacks to the end of the season. So it just I wasn't too upset about it. but we didn't do anything to replace him. And if you're expecting to find something in the draft, just burn the whole stadium.
I do think it's going to be much like with the Panthers, a pretty heavy defensive draft for the Falcons. Now, do you anticipate Kyle Pitts being traded either before or during the draft?
Nah, they're not gonna trade Kyle Pitts unless there's a guy that they want that's available. I just don't see us. I don't see us moving Kyle Pitts. I would like for us to move on from Kyle Pitts. I would absolutely like to, but I don't see it happening.
Didn't they say that they intend? I mean, they already paid Kirk what, like $10 million?
Yeah, we keeping him. We're not gonna take that dead money. We learned from Matt Ryan. We're not about to take that dead money. We're gonna keep Kirk as long as we can. Now, trading him would be cheaper. If we were to trade him, the dead money wouldn't be as much.
Gotcha.
Rather than cutting him. So I think they're either gonna trade him or keep him. And if we can't trade him, we're just gonna keep him. So
I mean, speaking of piss poor franchises, I would be shocked, but I wouldn't be, because it would be so Cleveland to trade for Kenny Pickett and then turn around and trade for Kirk Cousins. It would be so Cleveland with Deshaun Watson still there.
Yeah, that's
even though it's not allowed on the premises, but
they might sign Russ because I think he was visiting them today. But see, this is my problem that I have with the Falcons. You let Grady Jarrett go. There are two guys right here on this list that were available. And we didn't. And look how much they're not. And the thing is, you're not really paying them that much money. 3 years, 51, max 60. And then Javon Hargrave, he's going for 2 years for 30 million. I feel like we could have afforded. I think Javon Hargrave probably would have been a better option because it's a cheaper option. But hell, if Jonathan Allen is there, these motherfuckers got Javon Hargrave and Jonathan Allen.
This signals to me that the Vikings are not fucking around next season, and they understand completely what we were talking about earlier with McCarthy, that you need to build like Michigan did, a defense. And
you're gonna have to.
Yeah.
I don't understand them resigning Aaron Jones, but they bolstered their defense. They went and they got some cornerback. They got Byron Murphy. They went and signed Jonathan Allen and Javon Hargrave. So their line is solid.
Yeah.
And then the back end is gonna take care of itself. If your front can do their job, the back end is gonna take care of themselves.
And I'm not like Vikings fans, don't jump on me for this. I'm sure you're excited. I'm excited. It reminds me of, I'm not saying they're going to be the same. It reminds me of when the Vikings had Kevin Williams and Pat Williams right next to each other as defensive tackles.
Dude,
that was a duo.
Yeah, but you know, they know the thing is the Vikings know JJ McCarthy is not that guy. They know that, so they're gonna build around him.
Green Bay Packers not making nearly as many moves as my buddy Dave would like them to. Supposedly they were going to trade for DK. Supposedly they're going to sign Cooper Kupp. He's got the inside scoop on all of it. And
they're thinking about trading. I heard Jair Alexander is on a trade block too. So
right. Yeah. So I mean, they brought in a guard. They brought in a scrappy corner, and so far that's it.
I guess they must have saw value in him. 4 years, $48 million. 16 guaranteed.
It's kind of I gotta stop. I'm gonna keep my hands down. It's just a strange season for free agency because we're coming off of one of the sexiest free agent seasons of all time. I mean, Saquon, Derrick Henry, Josh Jacobs, Stephon Diggs, and all those guys moved around last season. So we're kind of stuck in at the teat. We want more of that action. It's not the same this season, but it's still, it's okay.
I mean, it was. Yeah, like I said, I mean, it was a fairly. I mean, like I said, I feel like the DK trade was probably the talk of the free agency.
Yeah,
and the amount of money he's getting paid, 5 years, what I think it was $150.
Yeah. Whew. So we're up to the Lions here. They brought in corner from the Jets, DJ Reed, Roy Lopez. They re-signed.
I thought they'd re-sign. What's his name? Who did they trade for from the Browns?
Last year?
Yeah. What's his name? The guy they traded for the Browns.
Fuck, I can't remember.
Damn, I can't think of his name.
Huh. Well,
it's something. I had it. It's on the tip of my goddamn tongue.
we'll get it. I like Grant Stewart. He's got the hair. I think he's from Houston, and boy, he's just a special teams ace. He's one of those aces. He's like it's like the fucking we can't remember names today. It's like Matthew Slater. There's a special teams ace. Moving up to the Bears here. Bears making some moves. They want to protect Caleb Williams this year, so they traded for Jonah Jackson from the Rams. They traded for Joe Tooney from the Chiefs. Also brought in Drew Dahlman. And then they bring in your boy, Grady Jarrett, along with Durham Smythe.
It's Darius Smith.
Ah, okay.
That's his name. That's what I thought they were. That's at the very least, I thought they'd have re-signed to pair him with what's his name? That
Aiden.
Fracture, isn't it? Yeah. So, but yeah, no, Chicago. I'm probably say Chicago probably had the most active because they did. Man, they got some guys to protect Caleb Williams. You bring in Grady Jarrett. You got a couple guys for your defense. So I think they might be going all in.
Yeah, they want.
Well, that's going to work, but I think they should bring back Keenan Allen.
Jesus, speaking of making moves, making our way into the NFC East here, and Washington got a taste of the NFC Championship game, and they want to get back.
It's like we want to get back.
They re-signed Mariota. They traded. This was the trade that really kicked off all the moves. Traded for Deebo Samuel, a 5th rounder. They traded for Laramie Tunsil from the Texans.
That was that. I was like, what? I'm like, the Texans. What the fuck are y'all? I want to know what they gave up for him. What they gave? They gave up a 4th and a 3rd and a set. Ah, kiss my ass.
Yeah. So this season they gave up a 3rd and a 7. Next season they gave up a 2 and a 4. And they got
so they got 2 and a 4. Oh, okay. So that's the value I was looking for. Okay, so you gave up a set. Okay, there it is. That's the value. I was like, get the fuck out of here. So yeah, I mean, I just don't. I guess maybe they didn't want to pay him anymore. I don't know, but.
And they bring in former Falcon, former Bear Eddie Goldman, Sheldon Day, Javon Kittle. There's 3 guys right there just trying to replace Jonathan Allen. Then you bring in 3 new guys.
Yeah, you're gonna definitely have to do that. But I mean, hey, listen, you got a taste of that NFC Championship. You were 1 game away. Yeah, you got to do what you got to do. I just don't know what Deebo is going to do in his offense.
Right.
Like he just, I don't know. I don't know what he's going to do in his offense, but I'm sure they're going to figure it out.
Especially if they keep Eckler, because I could see them using Deebo because Brian Robinson could use a backfield mate who's got some more juice. But if they keep Eckler, then I don't see how you rotate Deebo in there when he kind of does the same thing.
As a receiver, Deebo is not a good receiver.
Right.
He doesn't get separation. He's a gadget guy, and
even when he gets separation, I mean, might drop the ball.
Yeah, he's a guy that you're gonna have to do like little bubble screens, and I don't want to keep throwing bubble screens to a receiver. Like I need you to get your ass up the field and get separation.
Moving on to the Super Bowl champion, Philadelphia Eagles.
I didn't message you because I wanted to like just talk about this because I noticed it's been a rough. Like y'all lost everybody.
Well, we lost a few players. Luckily, we didn't lose any core players. Getting Zach Bond back was huge. I mean, if Philly had lost him in free agency, there would be.
Jacoby Dean. I think he would have been a good replacement. But yeah, you don't want to lose that guy because he stepped up major for your defense.
Oh yeah, I mean, defensive player of the year nominee. On top of the fact that Dean's probably going to start on the PUP next season with that injury.
Yeah, probably.
So yeah, you definitely needed him back. But yeah, I mean, Darius Slay, long time Eagle, been a part of both Super Bowl teams.
Gardner.
CJ, traded for Kenyon Green, traded Kenny Pickett, Kenny Two Gloves to the Browns for a 5th round pick and DTR, famous DTR, quarterback with the 1 touchdown to 10 interception ratio, which we can work with that. We're the quarterback factory in Philadelphia, not Cleveland. So maybe coming here, I like DTR at UCLA. So we'll see.
Well, now you got the Quad brothers back there in that backfield with AJ Dillon.
Oh my Lord! There's this. I think it was busting with the boys, but maybe they just stole the meme that said Howie Roseman has a type, and it was just a picture of both those guys' thighs. Yeah, if AJ, because he missed all of last season with that neck injury, but if he's healthy, good
It's gonna be
Lord,
a problem. Yeah,
that's
late in the games is gonna be a problem for a lot of defenses.
and I understand that he has underperformed compared to like what we probably thought he could do out of Boston College because he was such a monster at Boston College. But we'll see. He's good at catching the ball, and
I think being in this offense, he's gonna be fine.
Yeah. And then, we'll see what happens because supposedly Dallas Goedert is just minutes away from being traded. So they bring in Harrison Bryant. Like you said, they traded CJGJ for.
Why would you trade Dallas? I feel like he's that core guy for your offense. I don't think he should be one of those guys you should trade.
Led the team in receiving yards in the postseason, but
yeah, that would be dumb. Like that. Yeah, no, you got to keep you. At the very least, you got to keep AJ Brown, Devontae Smith, and Dallas Goedert. Saquon obviously is in that mix. Y'all made him the highest paid running back. So,
just gave him a reward pretty much.
But it's worth it. He was worth it.
And then Uche, I've liked since Michigan. I love bringing him in. And Adoree Jackson, can't say that I love, but it's competition, and we needed it with Slay gone. So he's going to compete with Keely Ringo for that other outside spot. Hopefully they keep Cooper.
Keely Ringo going to probably. I think Cooper DeJean might beat both of them in that situation.
Yeah, I think in base, if they're not in nickel, which is going to be rare that you're not in nickel, but if they're not in nickel, Cooper will probably be the other outside corner, and then when they go to nickel, kick him back inside.
Yeah.
Moving on. So, it's going to be an interesting competition because they're both very athletic. From what I remember, Adoree is not very physical, but he's got the hips, and Keely is pretty physical, but he doesn't have the hips. So they're opposite players in that respect. Moving on to everyone's favorite team, the New York Football Giants.
Oh man!
Sure, they don't have Tommy or they don't have Daniel Jones anymore. No more Danny Dimes, but they brought back old Tommy DeVito because Tommy Cutlets, can't get enough of him.
Why do you pay Darius Slayton that much fucking money? Why are you paying Darius Slayton why are you giving him that much money?
Go ahead. I'll let you run with this one.
I don't. Darius Slayton, he's done nothing since he's been on this team. Like and within the last couple years, there's nothing saying that he's worth 3 years, $36 million. I'm not paying you. You at the very least, I'm gonna give you a year deal. You might something. I'm not. No. Fuck that. I don't understand teams paying players that they don't produce at all. Like he's not. What has he done in the last 2 years to say he's worth this money?
Gosh.
Nothing.
He's been fine, but certainly
I think he had a big game last year. He had one big game. I'm like, this is goddamn trash.
I wanted to find the image from DraftKings because it was all just right there on one image. But it's just insane to me that the Giants, 1 year after losing Saquon Barkley, are giving the same exact money that they could have given to Saquon to Darius Slayton.
Exactly. And that's the problem. So you don't want to pay the guy that you need, but you want to pay a guy you don't need. Because Darius Slayton has done nothing.
Nothing.
He's done nothing for your team.
He's, like I said, he's been fine.
That's it. He's been fine. That's what he is. He's fine. This is trash. Like, it tells me this is a very poor franchise. You know the problem is now they're saying that Shador is tied to the Giants.
I love it.
I've said this. I saw an article about this. Shador is a second. He's a day 2, day 3 guy. He's not a day 1 guy. And if you bring him into this organization, y'all are going to see why I said he's a day 2 and a day 3 guy. He's not a day 1 guy. He's not a first round. He's not. I don't care what his dad says. I don't care what Shador and what's the other one's name?
Jackson.
No, not Jackson.
Oh,
The
Cam
other
Ward.
one, the other brother, the other Sanders boy.
Oh, Shiloh.
Yes, they're not. They're not those guys. They're not as good as they're portrayed to be. Think
I,
about it. If Dion didn't go to Buffalo and those guys end up in Buffalo somehow, we wouldn't be talking about either one of them. Shiloh couldn't cover. Shiloh was reckless. Shiloh was going to put himself in a hospital, which he did. By the way, he put himself into the hospital by I think he broke his fucking collarbone. He's reckless. He can't cover. Like Shador's the same way. His decision making is terrible. He's slow, and people say, "Well, he had Travis Hunter. If shit broke down, what do? Close your eyes and throw the ball to Travis." That's what
I,
he did. That's what he did. That's what he did last year. A lot of it was his fuck it. Travis is there somewhere. Travis bailed him out of a lot of shit last year. There was no he wasn't making accurate passes. He wasn't carving up defenses. His decision making was terrible. There's a reason why he got sacked a lot because he held onto the ball too long. I don't believe in Shador being a day one guy.
well, and his profile makes him an impossible evaluation because if you say he's going to suck, then people say, "Oh, you're just a hater."
You're a hater.
Yeah. But if you say he's going to be a top 5 pick, if you say he plays like a top 5 pick, you are lying to yourself. You are.
For sure. You're 100% lying to yourself.
Because so many other quarterbacks that have played well in college have had piss poor offensive lines. Many
exactly.
And so and we see that you don't bring anything else to the table. You're not a dynamic runner. You don't have some cannon of an arm.
No.
So
that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. If he didn't have Travis Hunter, if Travis Hunter didn't commit to Jackson State, if he'd have said, fuck Dion, I'm going to Florida or wherever he was being recruited to, guess what? Shador would have been dog shit.
Yeah.
He would have been I'm sorry. Like again, the Colorado receiving core was great. They had a great receiving core. Those guys were great. You're going to see what it's like. Like when you have one good receiver and everybody else is shit. Can you imagine Shador having to throw to fucking Darius Slayton?
Well, I mean, in that regard, I will say no, that would suck. But at least we've seen Malik Neighbors have a little bit of success with pretty subpar quarterback play. So if you got Malik Neighbors, on your fantasy team, you shouldn't be fretting too much. But
here's the kicker,
New York Giants fan, I wouldn't be expecting a big franchise turnaround.
But here's the kicker, though: the guys that they had before him were better decision making. Like he had Danny Dimes, who he's not a great quarterback, but his decision making it's better than Shador's. And then he had, what was the other guy they had last year?
DeVito?
No, not DeVito. The other one, the one from Denver.
Had a guy from Denver?
Yeah, he was a backup in Denver. I can't think of his goddamn name.
Rippin?
Huh?
Not Rippin.
No, not Rippin. The other guy. I can't think of his goddamn name.
We suck tonight. What the hell's going on? We're getting old. We suck tonight with names.
We do suck tonight with names.
We officially reached that age.
Oh God. Hold on. Let me see. I'm gonna find it.
You find that. I will move on to the last team in the NFC.
Drew Lock.
Oh, okay. That's right.
That's who he had. So I believe those two guys are better than Shador when it comes to decision making and not holding on to the ball. So
that's not saying much.
But again, because who his dad is, and if you say he's bad, oh, you're a hater. I'm not a hater. I just watched the film. You see the product on TV. Like, you can't say, well, the sacks was the offensive line fault. Okay, you can say that. But there were plays where he's holding the ball 5-6 seconds. What the fuck are they supposed to do at this point? As an offensive line, I'm expecting the ball to be gone. And when I turn around and I see you holding the ball, why are you still holding the ball?
Yeah. Oh, we'll see. We'll see. I'm very excited for the draft, and we'll definitely do more draft talk as that approaches. Moving on to Dallas.
Ass franchise.
Dallas is doing a very interesting thing here, which I'm not going to knock them for this strategy because the Eagles kind of do this strategy of
what strategy?
Bringing in former first-round picks.
So So Rico Dowdle.
So you bring in Peyton Turner, who has done nothing in his career. I'll say that Peyton Turner I think he's been on the injury report since he was drafted. I'm fairly certain. I mean, for a guy his size, he was supposed to be like just the next Marcus Davenport, just a monster with that huge frame coming in, and Calais Campbell just mauling people. Hasn't happened yet, so we'll see.
Rico Dowdle was a better running back than Javonte Williams.
Javonte Williams, definitely high draft profile.
He ran behind one of the best lines last year, and he was ass.
Had a good rookie season till he got banged up. And now we'll see what he does in Dallas.
The Cowboys, their motto is one man trash is another man's treasure.
He does look like a shell of his former self. True.
That's what their fucking motto is.
3 former first-round picks right here.
I forgot Solomon Thomas was still in the league.
So we shall see. We shall see.
Wait, who did they bring in for the defensive coordinator? Oh, they brought in somebody. Are they still sticking with the same guy?
I don't know. I know.
I thought they brought somebody in different.
I know Schottenheimer's the coach now. Schottenheimer.
This is going to be the worst season for a Cowboys fan. If you're a Cowboys fan, I understand this. Just buckle up. Just make sure you don't, drink yourself into an early coma. We don't need that. It's going to be a long season. It's going to be
they did the right thing by making Turpin the highest paid returner in the league. If I know the Cowboys, if I know Jerry Jones, they probably should have done it last season and saved themselves some money. But
So then they restructured CD's contract, and then he brought his ass out telling us some more. I can't win with just me. Yes, we know, motherfucker. We've been telling y'all that when y'all signed them dumbass contracts. But hey, it's nice.
We have made it officially into the AFC now, starting in the AFC West with the LA Chargers, Jim Harbaugh's boys, and they brought in free agent running back from the Steelers, Najee Harris.
Najee Harris is not a good running back.
He's not a great.
No, he's not a good. He's not good. He's not great. He's not average. He is ass. He is butt cheeks.
Might be Grud. Is he Grud? Mixed between good and great?
No, he's not either. None of that. He's
available. How about he's available?
Yeah, let's go with that. He's available. Let's go with that. He is not. He's besides the one running back that came from Alabama, he's done nothing. Since coming out of college, he's been the second Alabama running back to fail.
I mean, yeah, because I think you're talking about Trent Richardson.
Yeah, Trent Richardson is a fucking failure.
You look at Mark Ingram. He had 1 year.
Mark Ingram was obviously not a failure. Derrick Henry, Josh Jacobs, those guys came out and they've had great careers. And then you get this dickhead here who goes to Pittsburgh and he can't run the ball. He just fucking ass.
Now you are being a little bit nice to Eddie Lacy.
Eddie Lacy had a good career until he couldn't control his weight anymore. Eddie, I didn't mention Eddie because he was good until his weight became a problem. So he had a good couple years with Green Bay. I don't consider that fair. Trent Richardson was trash to begin with.
Would you say Kenyon Drake overperformed or underperformed what you thought he would coming out? I feel like he overperformed.
He's an Alabama running back, so yeah. I mean, you can say he overperformed.
Now the Chargers bring back a familiar face in Mike Williams.
Oh, so they did re-sign him.
Yep. And they re-signed Khalil Mack after losing. They did lose Joey Bosa, so he's gone. Denzel Perryman has been with them, I believe, since San Diego is what I read today, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, he's been there for a while. Dante Jackson, Elijah Moore. So I don't. The thing is, I don't like the Najee Harris signing. I'd have let him sit on. I'd have let him sit. I'd have tried to go for Genty or something. I would. I mean, you still have um the guys from last year. So you still have the running backs from last year. I don't know
Sassoon.
why, huh? I don't,
Sassoon.
yeah, I don't know
Or
why
no,
I'm
not,
bringing Najee Harris. Not
I called him Sassoon, dude. That's his nickname because his name is Vidal. Vidal Sassoon. No, his name is Kamani Vidal. Not fucking
I don't know
Sassoon.
why I'm bringing Najee, but
That's so funny.
maybe he might change the scenery, might make him a better running back. I'm not sure.
As we mentioned before, Geno Smith made his way from the Seahawks to the Las Vegas Raiders. He will now be
United again.
reunited with Pete Carroll, throwing passes to Brock Bowers, handing
Man,
it off to Raheem Mostert. That's how it goes.
let me
Alex
see.
Kappa, solid lineman brought in.
Where are they at? Where are they at draft wise?
I think they're right around the Jets. I think they're either 6 or 8. I think they're 6. Bring in Landon Roberts, bring in Eric Stokes, and bring in Jeremy Chin. And boy, you got yourself a defensive backfield. So they decided Divine Diablo was no longer the answer, and they brought in Jeremy Chin, which is pretty cool. I like Jeremy.
So they got the 6th overall. You got Brock Bowers.
I believe this gentleman is Polamalu's cousin, nephew.
Probably. I'm sure they're related. You need receivers. So I think they might go heavy. I think their first pick is going to be a receiver. It's you need it because the guys you had last year were fucking. I'm surprised they got by.
I still say, and I put this in our chat, our dynasty chat, that Cooper Kupp is like a Tom Brady guy. Like if Tom Brady was throwing the ball to Cooper Kupp, it'd be just like fucking Edelman and Amendola back in the day.
So let me ask you this question. Does adding Geno Smith to the Raiders make them a contender for this division?
No.
Ooh.
I think it helps significantly, but this is a very good division. We're talking year 2, Bo Nix.
Yeah.
And that defense. And then, I mean, the Chargers, with their first year with Harbaugh, made the playoffs.
He didn't even have it. All they had was Lad McConkey.
Right. So I think they're still going to be 4th, but I do think they'll be much improved. I mean, it won't be like watching. I mean, last year, and I like Gardner Minshew, but Jesus, I mean, what a tough team to watch, my guy. I mean, Brock Bowers was it.
And then when Gardner went down, they had that other guy he actually started the season.
AOC.
So, I mean, well, this is the Chiefs. Jesus.
Yes.
They signed Gardner Minshew.
Yes, they decided Gardner looks good back there, so they brought him in. They bring in Elijah Mitchell, which is interesting because Mitchell has a lot of talent. He's often injured, so you're kind of bringing him in with Pacheco, who's been banged up, and I guess we'll see what they do in the draft. But Chiefs don't really.
What's his name still on the contract?
Edwards-Helaire?
No. I know he's gone.
Kareem Hunt.
Yes, Kareem. I can't think these fuckers' names? Yeah, so is he still on the contract?
I haven't seen.
Was he on a 1-year deal?
I gotta imagine it was a 1-year deal. So they'll probably just bring him in next year, week 2 or whatever.
I mean, I would bring him in. I think a healthy Kareem Hunt and a healthy Isaiah Pacheco. I think those two together would have been a good recipe for disaster for anybody.
I mean, that's just one of those backfields. I mean, you can put Damian Williams back there. You can put, a couple different guys back there. And because you got Pat Mahomes, probably going to score some touchdowns.
Yeah.
Moving on to the Broncos as we full steam ahead here. Really, Evan Ingram was like the biggest name they brought in, which is going to be big. I mean, Broncos haven't had a
good tight end
like this. Right.
Here's the funny thing about Evan Ingram.
Could say since Shannon.
Before this signing was announced, Bleacher broke and said that he re-signed with the Jags. So I was like, and then when I saw, I was like, wait a minute. I was like, wait. And then I saw that he signed with the Broncos. I was like, wait, didn't he just sign with the Jags? Like, what do we? Is there some miscommunication going on here or something?
That's the thing with this tampering. You know, if these guys are designated for what, a post June 1st cut, you know, so that the team can save money, there's no, like, you can talk to other teams, but there's no guarantee that your team could still bring you back. Like, Eagles could have brought Slay back because technically he's still going to be cut after June 1st, but that ship has sailed. So yeah, Evan Ingram's the big one. I like Ufunga, but he's got to stay healthy. And then Dre Greenlaw. Moving on to the AFC South, and boy, I mean, talk about a poverty franchise, a team that just fucking can't get it together. And I loved McNair. I loved Eddie George. You know, I love his
They are
boy.
terrible now.
It's been a long time since those guys are around. And Jesus Christ. I mean, a piss poor franchise pays the guy who allowed the most sacks last year. They pay him the most. That's what a piss poor franchise does. You pay a guy who allowed the most sacks last year the most money of any tackle in free agency.
And they let Harold walk. And you sign Draymond Jones.
Yep.
And you bring in Van Jefferson for whatever fucking reason. What the fuck? What the fuck? This makes me madder than what the fucking Cardinals did. This is stupid.
So dumb. I mean, a shit quarterback and Brandon Allen.
None of this makes sense.
A shit receiver. God, I mean, for the amount of times I have bet money on Van Jefferson to get a catch and lost money.
You lose every time. I had him on my fantasy. You lose every fucking time with Van. He needs to go. When he signed with the Rams, I was like, okay, cool. Cooper's down. He's gonna shine.
He's the only one.
Nope. Didn't fucking work. Not at all. Not a fucking touchdown. I'm like, you son of a bitch. This is depressing. This is very depressing.
They don't even have rising superstar Westbrook Akine anymore. He's gone. You got Calvin. Calvin Ridley.
So who are they gonna be throwing the ball to?
Calvin Ridley, Tyler Boyd.
Oh, this is a bad franchise. This right here, you get finessed out of AJ Brown by the Eagles. They pay him because you didn't want to pay him, and now he has a Super Bowl, and you have the number 1 pick this year.
Derrick Henry almost went to a Super Bowl,
and Derrick Henry's had success where he's at now. You fuckers are stupid.
Oh, Jacksonville Jaguars.
They're no better. They're no better.
Boy,
they brought in De'Ami Brown because of one fucking game in the playoffs. One goddamn game.
I'm not gonna say a single name there. Jaguars did nothing. They only lost people. All right.
Who signed Daniel Jones? 13.5.
You need competition for Anthony Richardson.
That's not competition. Listen, you got two. Listen, that's like taking 2 kids with Down syndrome, tying blindfolds on them, and telling them to throw accurate passes. That's not fucking competition. This is a shit show. Why would you bring in? And then you giving him 13. 13 of that contract is fully guaranteed.
Now, here's what I'm going to say. And if I say this, I don't mean to offend anyone because, listen, I'm a broke bitch. You can only afford what you can only afford. So I'm not saying this to knock anyone. But this is like you have a car. You're so proud of your Kia. You have a Kia Forte. And then you said, you know what? I need to give this Kia Forte a little bit of competition. Let's bring in a Hyundai Sonata and really just kick it up a notch. Again, Hyundai Sonata, Kia Forte, to people who have them, nice cars. But if you can afford better, you wouldn't dream of looking at a Kia Forte.
Why bring in Daniel Jones and then yell, well, this is going to be competition for him? Daniel Jones was on a practice squad after signing a $180 million contract with the Giants. He was on a practice squad last year. Get the fuck out of here. I am not paying him. So he gets $6 million in the signing bonus, 7.1. Oh, you gotta be fucking kidding. You know what? I hope they get everything they deserve. The only good thing they got is Travarius Ward. That's the only good thing they got out of this fucking free agency.
Yes. This will, believe it or not, once again be a Division One by the Houston Texans.
The Texans. This Texans. You can't lose this division. Even with all the injuries they had last year, you can't lose this division.
Now, here's what I do want to ask you, because Tank Dell had a pretty horrendous injury.
Mm-hmm.
I understand trading for Christian Kirk to replace Stephon Diggs, but you also bring in Berrios and Watson. Do you think that means that Dell's injury is that bad?
Braxton Berrios is a return guy. He's a return specialist. That's what he's going to be. Christian Kirk is going to try to replace Stephon Diggs. Justin Watson was just backup. Okay. I think the thing is his injuries are horrific.
Yeah.
And it wasn't like it was just like he's running and boom, he cut. No, both his major injuries was due to him being tackled. Now, I think that maybe he should probably put on a little weight. You know, maybe a couple pounds. That might help protect him, but I think Tank Dell's gonna be fine.
Okay.
I'm not too concerned about the injuries. I mean, it was like I said, it wasn't like he's not like Christian McCaffrey. Right. He run 5 yards and boom, his hamstring goes out. No. Like he was in both those injuries were due to him being tackled. It's unfortunate, and goddamn, I just hope I need him to put on some weight and he'll be all right.
Now, I thought it was odd for a team so close to Super Bowl, not for a team so close to at least the AFC Championship game to trade away Tunsil, to trade away Kenyon Green, 2 starters on your offensive line.
That didn't make sense unless they see guys like Tate Rutledge. I think if they have an opportunity to draft Tate Rutledge, I think he's going to be that guy because he can be that guy for you.
Right.
I think they may have saw something good within the combine because you don't give up Laramie Tunsil for fucking cookies. I'm sorry, you just don't give him up for nothing. So I think they saw something in the draft in the combine that was like, okay, we can afford to give up this guy, and then we can get our guy. Like I said, I think Tate Rutledge is going to be a guy that's probably on their board, and there's a few other guys on that ran in that offensive line group that probably are high on their board.
Yeah, I definitely think tackle because they got 2 new guards, but yeah, they need to address that tackle spot.
So I think they're going to do that. I think that's what they're going to do. I think they're going to just say, "Fuck it, let's go get us someone young." Because Tunsil's been in the league what?
Feels like a long time.
It feels like a long because it does feel like a long time, but I feel like he's only been in there what 5 or 6 years.
Let's see. I still remember the gas mask. So
yeah, the gas mask is what got him. But I think he's 5 or 6 years. Probably 5 or 6 years. I don't think he's been in it 10 years.
He is 30 years old.
Shit. So when did he get drafted?
He was drafted in. Come on now. 2016. Wow.
Damn.
He was in the Carson Wentz draft.
Shit. All right. Well, I guess I guess they're looking at like let's just go get someone younger.
Yep.
I mean,
and I do like Darryl Taylor has been a pretty consistent pass rusher at least for as long as he's been in the league, so that's good. Add him to
still getting paid somehow.
Yep. Yep. Brought in CJ to put back there with your guys.
Dude, see, I'm gonna put it like this: CJ Gardner-Johnson is a massive upgrade for that back end to pair with Derek Stingley and then the other safety they have back there, dude. Adding him there, dude. That's it. There's your back end. Now you just need to fix the front end because your offense. I think you can find some guys in the up because you still got Joe Mixon. And
Right.
I think you can find some guys, some receivers in the they're just so far down they're just so far down the list that I don't know.
I still like the guys they have on the roster. I mean, Xavier Hutchinson,
I don't think they trust us.
Mechie. I like Mechie, but they just haven't
Mechie got
really.
Mechie was supposed to be what Jameson Williams is.
Right.
That's what Mechie was supposed to be. But the cancer and then his late start to his actual career, I think they're gonna have to implement Mechie because Mechie can be that guy. He can be that guy that can take the top off the defense.
Yeah.
But they have to implement him in their game plan.
So finally, we get to the trade we talked about at the beginning here. DK Metcalf traded for a second-round pick, a late-round swap, and he signed a 4-year, $132 million extension.
They did all this shit just to lose to the Ravens.
They did all that to bring back Mason Rudolph.
Why do all this just to lose? Like, so now you got two crash outs in DK Metcalf and George Pickens for no fucking reason.
Also, I mean, these divisional games for the Steelers next season are going to be scrappy. Fucking scrappy, dude. The Browns, like those guys.
Somebody's getting ejected. Somebody's getting ejected. I was just surprised that they moved him as fast as they did, because he announced he wanted to be traded last week, and then boom, he was traded this week, which doesn't happen very often.
Slay and Kenny Gainwell make a quick trip across Pennsylvania to go to the Steelers. TJ says, if you think about it, your mom was the spawn point, and then your dad was the pregame lobby. Then abortion is just spawn camping.
Jesus Christ. I think he's been drinking.
Yeah, what meme group are you watching now, TJ? Good Lord. You're in the Dark Dads meme group.
No, Ben Skoranek got a contract. Okay.
Skoranek. Moving up to the Cleveland Browns, baby.
This is just, why the fuck would you trade? Why would you trade Kenny Pickett? Why would you trade for Kenny Pickett and what the fuck?
Hey, they wanted a guy with
he was
solid hands. Hands that get a good two hands that get a good grip on the ball. 2 glove hands. He's like Kenny Bridgewater.
Kenny Pickett has baby hands. Why would you? This is stupid.
I don't know if that's been brought up before. I don't know if I just trademarked that, but he is Kenny Bridgewater.
This is stupid. And then you got this big jackass right here, Myles Garrett. Ooh, win. I want to win. I want to go to a. Shut the fuck up. You just wanted money, you big dumbass.
Man.
This everything about this made me mad. When I heard that he re-signed with the Browns, everything about this made me mad. And because you sat there, I think it was at the Super Bowl. It was some interview. You sat your big dumb ass at that table and spewed all that bullshit talking about I want to win, and then you go and you re-sign this contract. You're not winning, sir. Cleveland is not going to build a championship team. Okay, they can't even get the quarterback situation together. They have not had a steady quarterback ever.
Now the quarterback has a ring.
This is stupid. I don't understand Myles Garrett. I don't understand his thought process. And then you have a no trade clause in there.
Yep. So now you can't get out.
You're a fucking moron. I'm done with these players.
Unfortunately, too. I mean, end of an era for another famous Brown, Nick Chubb. Don't think he's going to be back with the team.
I wouldn't want to come back. Fuck them. I'm out of here. Y'all not winning nothing no time soon. I'm out of here. And then this bullshit. Listen.
So here's this could have been a sexy free agent season had not the Bengals franchise tag T. Higgins, because T. Higgins would have been the top receiver on the market. But
the Bengals,
he never got let out of the bag.
Are a cheap franchise. You want to know why you'll never win a Super Bowl? Because you're cheap. You're going to pay this man $26.2. That's a lot of money for people who've never seen that type of money.
Yes.
But for a guy that produces as much as he does, and for you to franchise tag him for the second straight year, I hope y'all don't get nothing for him. I hope he walks next season. I hope you don't get a fucking thing from him. I hope he doesn't sign a contract. If I was him, I wouldn't play next season. You can kiss my ass. I'm not signing this at all. I'm not signing this shit, and I'm not playing. You can kiss my ass because they're not gonna get a long-term deal done. We know that. We know that's not. They got to sign Jamar Chase.
And I wish I mean, all these years of hearing about the tag, yada yada yada. Isn't it the case that like if you get injured bad on the tag, you're kind of fucked,
You're
right?
good. You're done. If T Higgins if he gets hurt this season, he's done. Whatever contract you thought you were going to get, you're not getting because they're going to use it over. Oh, you got hurt last season.
Yeah.
If you get hurt, they're not paying. They're not. No, you're not going to get. They're going to get screwed. No.
Moving on to the Ravens. Big names.
They was like, we're good. We're just gonna sign DeAndre Hopkins. We're good. They're good with what they got. I thought what's his name was gonna walk. I thought he was gonna at least be traded. Mark Andrews. I thought he was gonna be one of those like. But I think they're good. They're just like we're good with what we have. Our defense is good. Our offense is good. We don't need anything.
Bringing in Hopkins reminds me of a TV show that we're both familiar with. That's so Raven. That is so Raven to bring in a veteran like DeAndre Hopkins to be with Lamar.
I mean, you needed it. You needed it. Yes, you did. You needed it. You need another guy you need that red zone threat. Because I mean, Mark Andrews, he was alligator arms last year. And then I think you bring in DeAndre Hopkins. He helps out. He's going to help out Zay Flowers.
Yep.
So I think you'll be all right. I think you're going to be fine.
And unlike the Niners, who screwed their fullback Kyle Juszczyk, Ravens decided to bring back Ricard because they know how to treat their players.
Right. So I think they did enough to just say, we're good where we're at. I think we got enough to compete.
And we are chugging right along here. I think we're in the last division. The AFC East begins with the New York Jets, and this really surprised me. Justin Fields. How about that? The old Justin Fields to Garrett Wilson, bringing back the college days, Ohio State Buckeyes. Don't you? I know there's thoughts in there. I know there's words that want to come out of that mouth.
I don't hate it. I think Justin Fields showed.
TJ, that's your team, by the way. I hope you're paying attention here, TJ.
Justin Fields, I think he showed enough. Like the first I think he played the first 5 games.
I think they went 4-2. I think he played 6.
Yeah, the first 6 games. So they went 4-2. So I think he showed enough to get this money. So I think who's the coach? What's one of the
Aaron Glenn.
Who?
Aaron Glenn.
Oh yeah. So Aaron Glenn. I don't like defensive coordinators as head coaches, but hey, who am I? I think their biggest issue was the quarterback position last year. Let's just be honest. Let's just be honest. Aaron Rodgers didn't live up to the expectations that he was supposed to live up to last year. So let's just be real with this. Aaron Rodgers, that the quarterback position was an issue, especially late in games. The mobility was an issue. We all know Justin Fields can still run. Yes. So I think this is gonna be fine. The offensive line, it's okay. They're not great, but he'll be fine.
You bring in Okorafor. I'm not going to try to say the first name. You bring in Josh Myers from the Packers. So they're making the effort. They know they got to do that offensive line.
I think what they have so far, I think they're going to be fine. They got to work on their weapons. I mean, Garrett Wilson obviously is a guy, but losing Devontae Adams is brutal.
Right.
So you have to bring it. You have to draft somebody.
I mean, you
have to sign who's still available.
Right. They lost two of Rogers' boys because they lost Adams and they lost Alan Lazard.
Oh,
Say what you will about Lazard, but he was contributing. So now you're down to Garrett Wilson and Xavier Gibson again. And they don't have TJ Conklin, so I think that Tyler Warren has been projected to them in mock drafts. A lot of mock drafts I've seen have him going to the Jets.
Damn. So that you lose out on receivers.
Yeah.
Man,
but for a team that's probably going to be running as much as they will and using Justin Fields' legs, it might not be the worst thing. And when I look back, because in fantasy, there's always talk about a mobile quarterback takes away from the running back and yada, yada, yada. When I look back in history, the top rushing teams, Mike Vick and TJ Duckett and Warwick Dunn, and then you had just this last year with Jalen Hurts and Saquon and the Ravens. Like, I just think that narrative is kind of tired. Maybe the quarterback does steal a few rushing touchdowns, but that's not a bad thing for
No, don't do that. Don't put them in that same category as that greedy bastard Jalen Hurts. Don't do that. No. They don't all do what Jalen Hurts does.
If that play had been around the way it is now, I think Vic would have ran that a lot.
No, Vic wasn't strong enough to run that. Okay, no.
But that was kind of the big move for the Jets so far. They did lose C.J. Mosley, so we'll see what happens there at the middle linebacker spot. Moving on to the New England Patriots. Speaking of defense, Mike Vrabel wants to get this thing going.
Yeah, Mike Vrabel's not dumb. He knows that. He knows how bad that defense was. Harold Landry, bro, what? How does he go? How does he go from? He's a man. I had high hopes for that guy. For what's his name, Levon Chasen.
Oh yeah,
when he came out of college, I had hopes for him, but
he looked like a generational pass rusher to me.
Well, that didn't happen for him.
I mean, him and Randy Gregory, I thought those guys were going to absolutely dominate the league. But here we are.
Maybe he can figure out something to do with him, but I like what he did defense-wise. So
yeah, and I like bringing in Josh Dobbs, even though you got Drake May. Dobbs has been,
and then Mac Hollins coming in. He brings in Mac Hollins. That guy somehow is still making money, but he's very reliable. To be honest with you, he's weird as shit, but he's very reliable.
These moves scream football guys and toughness to me. Like Vrabel just wants this team to fucking be tough.
They need an identity because they definitely didn't have one last year.
Yep. Then going into the Miami Dolphins, bringing in Zach Wilson.
Dude,
look, you got a guy like Tua. You need a guy with a rocket arm right behind him.
Jeez, no. So, what the fuck? This is this franchise.
There's some names on this list.
They irritate me because they do just enough to piss you off. they do just enough to get your hopes high, and then they just pull the fucking rug from under you.
Oh yeah,
and then they go do shit like this.
I will say, KJ Britt seems like a good signing. Wanted to improve the offensive line, obviously. We'll see. Yeah.
Well,
again, they're trying to shit on my dynasty receiver, Malik Washington, so I don't like that at all.
Yeah, well, we'll see how that plays out for them.
Moving into.
God damn, Buffalo did it. See, Buffalo did their thing.
Division favorite. They
locked your guy down.
Josh Allen, my God.
I like that contract. I liked it. I like it for him. I just think now you got to beat the Chiefs. You have to beat the Chiefs in January. Fuck all that other extra shit. When y'all beat them there, you need to beat them in January when it matters.
Brought in Ogunjobi has been productive. Anywhere he goes, Ogunjobi makes plays.
Had an opportunity to pair the Bosa brothers together.
And
whipped. And they whipped.
Didn't even bring back Juszczyk, so how the hell are they going to bring in Bosa? And everyone's loving. I
don't understand that one. I get it. He almost died. I get it.
And that's the thing.
I get it. But he's not good. Why was he a starter last year?
Yeah, it's this to me anyway. I'm reading it the same way as Shador. If you criticize DeMar Hamlin, you're a hater. It's just because of the fucking.
Because he almost died.
I think he's being elevated because of that. I think the NFL said, "Oh fuck, we really fucked up making all these players get the shot, and that a guy almost died because of it. So now we have to do everything we can without looking ridiculous, like we're being obvious, to elevate DeMar Hamlin."
Get him the fuck out of here. DeMar Hamlin is no. I'm sorry. Like
He's
I
fine.
feel like Buffalo hands are tied at this point. I feel like their hands are tied because if you cut him, you look terrible. You look like a terrible franchise if you cut him.
Yes.
But he's not good. He almost died for a reason. Who the fuck is running that high up to the point where your chest is exposed? Listen, what happened to him is a 1 in a million opportunity. But and you just so happen to be running straight the fuck up, and you let this guy put his helmet directly into your heart.
Freak incident. Freak incident could have happened to anyone.
I think the Buffalo Bills' hands are tied, and they realize like there's nothing they can do. We got to keep this guy.
So, do you think Bosa is going to be like more of a contributor?
They are going to expect him to be Von Miller when they signed Von Miller the first time. Right. Yeah. That's what they're expecting because they just let Von Miller walk. Yeah. So they're expecting him to give that same production that Von Miller gave. I don't think so because of the injuries. If he can find a way to stay healthy, then he may, with him and Oliver on that line, I think they might work out. But if he can't stay healthy, I think it's going to be a waste. So I think that's the expectation is we expect you to do what Von Miller did when we brought him in the first time.
Right. I just want to pull up who's still available here. Okay. So I got some names. We'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We'll do about 6. I'll pull up these list of who's still available here, and you tell me where you think they're going to go and if they're going to get signed before the draft. So we'll go from Rodgers to about Von Miller here.
So I think Rodgers is going to be sometime soon.
Okay.
Because Giants, Steelers are like pushing to get him in there. So I think Rodgers is going to be before the draft.
Okay.
Cooper Kupp. I think Cooper Kupp and I think the receivers, if I'm being completely honest, I think they are going to sit until after the draft.
Gotcha.
Because I think there's a lot of good receivers, not great ones. I think this year's draft, is it defensive heavy this year?
Yeah, it's pretty line heavy.
I think it's pretty line heavy. So I think they're going to see what happens with the receiver situation as far as the draft goes. I do believe, unless someone's really wanting them off the board, Cooper Kupp's 31, Stephon Diggs 31, 32, 30. Brandon Cooks 31, Deontay Johnson's 28, but he's a fucking nightmare to have on your team. Tyler Lockett's 32. Who else is on this list? Receiver-wise. Who was that? Wait, you moved too fast. Robert Woods is 32. Yeah, I think because of their age, because they're not like I think these guys, I think they're gonna wait. I think a lot of this is going to be like after the draft type deals as far as the receivers go. But I think Rodgers is going to be before the draft, especially with Pittsburgh. I just don't see because the Giants want Shador. But if they bring in Rodgers, there's no way they take Shador at that top spot. It just doesn't. It won't make any sense.
And if they really did want Stafford, it would make sense that they would at least kick the tires on Rodgers.
Right. So I think Rodgers is going to be probably within the next couple of days, especially since he just got released.
Yeah.
I think he's probably going to be sometime maybe by next week, I'd say. But I think the receivers are probably going to wait till after the draft just because they're older and they want to see what they can get in the draft as far as receiver goes, especially the receiver needy teams.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of them. Von Miller's not getting re-signed. He's 36. If you re-sign him, you're it makes no sense. Don't do that. Don't do that to yourself. Don't do that to yourself. Cam Robinson and Brandon Sharif, I think everybody on this list is going to be it's going to trickle until next week, but I think a lot of it's probably going to be like after the draft type situations.
Okay.
Because I don't really see, these aren't like urgent. These guys aren't urgent guys. It's not like Tyreek Hill sitting here,
Right.
or a Zay Flowers. So I think this is gonna be fine. I think a lot of them gonna be sitting for a while before they get a phone call.
I think that bringing in DK means that the Steelers really want to take advantage of what they feel like is a closing Super Bowl window with guys like Cam Hayward, TJ Watt on the other side that are only getting older, Mika Fitzpatrick. So they really want to take advantage, and I do think it's going to be Rodgers, and I do think it'll be soon. I only disagree with you on the receivers because like we talked about, it's kind of a light draft as far as receiver talent. So I think a team like Oakland, right, or Seattle is going to want to jump on one of these guys before another team does, so they don't end up, empty-handed going into the draft.
Yeah, I just don't see a lot of teams like rushing to sign these guys.
Right.
So I think at this point it's just going to be, we'll wait and see. We'll see what happens. But I mean, because if that was the case, these guys would have been off the board early.
True. I'm still calling Vegas for Kupp. I'm going to call it until it doesn't happen. Let's see.
It wouldn't surprise me. You just got Geno, you got Brock Bowers. Why not bring in Cooper Kupp?
Yep.
Why not? Why not bring Cooper Kupp in and see if you can get you a young guy in which I think they're number 6 or yeah. So why not?
I totally agree. Stephon Diggs, I will say Detroit.
Ooh, Detroit. Yeah, I mean, he'll fit in a good slot guy to help out Amon-Ra and Jameson Williams.
I think if they want that, get over the hump, get another weapon in there, he makes sense.
Who did they lose to in the playoffs?
Commanders.
Oh yeah, they did.
At
it was
home.
1 and done. Yeah, they were 1 and done. Oh yeah, Aiden Hutchinson he's chomping at the bit to get back. Yeah, it's gonna be a revenge season for Detroit. So you're gonna need the help.
What about specifically for Atlanta? Is there anyone out there right now that you just saw on that list, or maybe you've been looking at earlier that you want them to sign?
No.
Justin Simmons?
It would be nice if we brought Justin Simmons back. It really would be nice because I think we could use him. But the guys that I wanted are gone.
Gotcha.
So, Hassan Reddick was a guy that I was like, oh, he would have been work perfect for us. He's gone. Josh Sweat is gone. I don't think no one really had a chance with Chase Young, but Jonathan Allen gone.
Yep.
Javon Hargrave gone. What the fuck are we gonna do? We just sat on our hands. So
well, what I'll say about that is, so on the offensive side of the ball, I don't think they're gonna have to make too many draft picks. I mean, you got your skill positions, you got most of your linemen, so kind of like the formula seems to be, if you're talking about the Eagles anyway, is have your offense set, have your big money on the offensive side, and then try to hit on defensive draft picks. And, I think the Falcons can go heavy defense this season. Maybe that's what they're going to end up with. A bunch of studs, a bunch of young dogs on the defensive side, and then some guys you're going to have to pay on the offensive side, Drake London.
I think what that thought process is, because there's a guy, I can't think of his name. We drafted him last year from Washington, and he was supposed to be one of those pass rushers for us.
Braylon Trice.
Huh?
Braylon Trice.
Yes, he tore his ACL in the preseason. So I think they're still riding on him. So to see if he's
That's
I don't
crazy
know.
how quickly you can forget about someone just because they're injured.
So we're gonna see how this season play out, but it's gonna make me sad and make me want to take a baseball bat to the TV if we don't do anything special in the draft. Like, you got rid of Grady Jarrett for a reason, so I'm expecting you to find his replacement within this draft. I wouldn't even be upset if we drafted and then traded back into the first round to get somebody.
Okay, you want the guns out.
What our window is closing. What are we doing? Like,
I would say it was with Kirk. Seems like it's open right back up now for a few more years.
Absolutely not. Listen, I like Michael Penix. Michael Penix is going to bring a dynamic. He's going to bring a different dynamic to our offense. That window is closing.
I don't see how. Like, who? I'm not trying to be contrarian, but it's not like there's any like major vets on the team right now that are about to retire.
You're right. There are no major vets. But you really think that Raheem Morris is going to coach this team to a Super Bowl?
Well, in that case, I wouldn't say the window's closing. I would say it never opened.
There you go. You think they're not doing anything? You look at the teams who've gone to Super Bowl. Look what the Eagles did within the last 3 years. Look at what they've done. AJ Brown, Saquon Barkley. Look, they went and was like, we're gonna go all in. Even if you lose, and a part of it is that a lot of the shit that they had, that luck fell in their lap when they got Jalen Carter and Nolan Smith.
No one knew Zach Bond was going to play like that this year.
Right. But at the same time, they made splashes. I don't care if we go all in and we just win one. I don't give a shit. I just want one.
Yeah.
That's all I want. I just want one. I just want to be able to say my team won a Super Bowl whilst I was still breathing.
Do you have a favorite prospect right now, or are you still kind of looking over the field?
I don't really know what their thought process is because we just signed Leonard Floyd, who's an edge. Right. So are we going to bring in a young guy and put on the opposite side of him? Or are we going to go somewhere to solidify the middle, seeing as we don't have fucking Grady Jarrett anymore?
Right.
So I don't know. I gotta look at the field and see as far as, because I know the guy from
Michigan.
Outside. My food, it's outside. The guy from A&M, I did see. He was the one that kind of popped up. It was him and it was another guy. I can't think of the other. Where is he from? Was he Tennessee?
I don't know about Tennessee. I know A&M has Scourton and Shamar Stewart.
Yeah, so Shamar Stewart is one, and then there's another guy. I think he played for Tennessee.
Pierce.
Yes, him. Them two. So those are the two that popped up immediately. But I want to review the rest and see what's all there.
Yeah.
Because I want to see, our day one guy, and then who's going to be our day 2 and 3 guys. Right. Because we don't really need anything. I mean, I guess if you want to go back in, we could go corner safety, but I don't really think it's a necessity. Because Justin Simmons, you can bring Justin Simmons back. You can give him 3 years. Him and Jesse Bates were a fucking tandem last year, and then I think you just gotta select. I just hate we've never been good with linebackers. Like we've never been good with linebackers. Caden Ellis surprised the hell out of me. I'm not even gonna lie to you. I didn't think Caden Ellis was going to be as good as he is, but he surprised the fuck out of me. And I'm happy we have him. And then there's the other guy that's next to him.
Anderson.
Yes. So them two together they play great. But we just need pass rushers. We can't be dead last in sacks. We can't. So.
Well, I think I mean, I'm pretty sure Aziz Ojulari is still out there. Didn't he go to Georgia?
Who?
Aziz Ojulari, or did he go to LSU? I know maybe his brother went to LSU.
Aziz is, and he played for the Giants, didn't he?
Yeah.
He played for the Giants. I don't know. He was somebody I wanted us to trade for last year. But we
Because I
didn't
almost think him and Floyd were on the same Georgia squad, maybe.
we didn't make any moves for the trade deadline, and he was a guy that I was like, maybe we can target him, but we didn't do diddly shit. So maybe we can. I don't know if he's available, we can go sign him, but we'll see. We'll see what plays out. I think they might be looking towards the draft at this point.
Well, folks, that was the mostly football free agency wrap up so far. What we know, we told you how we feel. We told you. Nate, my friend, you got any final thoughts?
I'm just ready. I'm ready for. It's already a new season. I'm just ready for pro days, the draft. Yeah. Before you know it, we're gonna be in July. Training camp, and then September's gonna be here.
It's crazy how it's moving right along. I mean, the Eagles feels like they just won the Super Bowl yesterday, and yet fans are all pissed off. Today everyone wants Howie's head because they traded Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. So it's like nobody's ever happy, and the season never stops.
Yeah, and right. It's a new season. I think Howie's cooking like he always is. Just let him do what he does.
Yeah.
So.
Yep. Well, the first 1-2 waves of free agency's gone by. We're into March Madness. The All-Star games, Senior Bowl and the Combine is gone. So now it's just a real sit and wait. Watch a few pro days for sure.
Some pro days, and then I think April, sometime in April, the end of April, and then it'll be the draft, and then we'll be into the summer.
That's right.
Mini camps and all that shit will be started, and we'll be right back at it.
Man, in my adolescence, like right around, like from 13 to 16, I was the most annoying person to talk to around April because I would not schedule anything around the draft. If you wanted to do anything around the draft, I would tell you to fuck off. So I'm a little bit more lax now.
Yeah, I try. I might do something. I might, do a little, just have a little watch party.
Guys, keep an eye out on the YouTube. Keep an eye out on the Facebook. I just got back into our Spotify account because it used to be Anchor, and then it changed to Spotify for creators. So it's just a whole fucking thing. But now I'm back in there, and you can catch all the new episodes of Mostly Football on Spotify as well as YouTube. So thank you very much for doing that. Go check it out. You know the whole thing. I don't want to have to tell you to like, subscribe, and share because everyone else does that shit. You should already know by now. So if you enjoy it, do all that stuff. See you next time, MFers. Goodbye.